I think we are live.
Let's see. Give us a like if you can hear us.
Let us know if we're good. If the volume's good. We're in a new spot, obviously. But we thought we'd give you some information with the view. Get the vibes up. Sports Mafia, first, always the first in the stream. I love it.
Can you guys hear us? If you can, please like the video or write in the chat. Do both, preferably. But if you can hear us, please like the video.
Whole lot of MTM. We got Mike P, Vic, Elaine, more Mike P. Let's go. I love it. I love it. I hope you guys brought questions. Obviously, we're not talking strictly drop shipping today, but we're still answering any all questions. So, obviously, I'm pumped up. I'll give you the intro. Welcome back to Have More Than Money. Today, Jared and I are discussing manifestation. So, pretty much how to manifest everything. Obviously, our initial goal is to manifest wealth and how we use it with the law of attraction.
Yeah. And, this is really an important video, guys. And the reason being is that, if you don't know how to manifest, it almost doesn't matter if you know the right pieces to business. I've seen crazy things happen. I remember one time I had a client / friend who was running ads, right? He did everything perfectly and wasn't making sales. And the reason why he wasn't making sales was because mentally he wasn't ready to make sales. He asked me a question. He was like, how do you know you're going to be able to deal with the customers? He was nervous. He wouldn't be able to deal with the customers. So what ended up happening was once he talked to me, I told him, look, I wasn't nervous. I said, hit me with your best shot. I was ready for the customers. All I wanted was to get that onslaught of customers, emails, calls, and then eventually sales. He said the moment I said that to him, it was like a light bulb flickered in his head. And the craziest thing happened. The next day, he made his first sale, right? Nothing changed about his business. The ad stayed the same. The product stayed the same. But the moment he had that mindset shift, out of nowhere, he just made a sale.
And so I think that's obviously a huge point that we need to point out to people is that you can either use manifestation to your benefit or you can use it to hurt you. And honestly, I think majority of the times people are so messed up in the head that they not like a sick way, but they're messed up in like a manifestation way where, if you're constantly focused on the negative and you're constantly focused on what could go wrong, your mind only knows that. And so, it literally attracts that negativity. And this isn't stuff that, we're just kind of making up. These are things that we've not only applied to our lives, but, some of the most successful people in the world. And so, the law of attraction and manifestation, it has such a such a negative connotation. People think it's hogwash, it's fairy dust. But in reality, like I said, the most successful people do it. When I think of guys like Drake, Michael Jordan, Conor McGregor, these are all people who are the best at what they do, and they apply this type of thinking in the law of attraction. I remember Drake spoke about it in an interview he did a couple months ago, where he said before he was anybody, he would drive around the richest parts of his neighborhood, and he had this one house that he would point out, and he said, "My house is going to look just like that." And he said in his story, he was saying this to a girl, and he said, however many years later, he literally had that house. Like that's not fake. These are successful people applying these techniques that we're talking about.
Yeah, and it's amazing to see celebrities vouching for it, because that was what opened my eyes to it when I first was getting started, was the celebrities. Now I don't even need that at all. Obviously, like at this point, Mike and I, we fully understand the power, right? And here's the thing: forget the celebrities, right? Every single human being is using the law of attraction one way or another, and they don't realize it. And here's the best way I can explain it. Think about it like this. Anything in your life that you've ever needed, right? Not wanted, needed. If you actually needed it, did you ever notice that you got it every single time, right? Everything you didn't get, you didn't actually need. You just wanted it, right? Because you were fine without it. You lived a fine life without it. So you never needed it. But anything you did need, right? You literally couldn't live without, you managed to get, right? That's the law of attraction in its purest form. So, for guys like Mike and I, we shifted the need. Like, we created different needs for ourselves. We realized that we needed to become financially free. We needed to become rich. And that is why we attracted it. That is why we have it. The law of attraction, I like to sum it up in 4 steps, right? And here's the simplest way to understand how to use it every day in your life. First, decide what it is you want. If you're in our program, then, you already know what you want. You want to have a successful dropshipping store. You want to be doing 100K in sales a month, right? So you already have that. Write that down. Second, spend as much time as you possibly can working towards it. Third, when you're not working towards it, visualize it. So in your spare time, close your eyes and pretend that you've done 100K in sales that month, hum the words wealth and success to yourself. Now, the fourth thing, right? This is the most overlooked, right? Because even if you do the other three, it doesn't matter. If you don't do this fourth thing, then you won't attract what you want in life, right? And here's the fourth thing is being as grateful today as you will be when you have what it is you want.
Exactly. And those are obviously, Jared just broke it down to the 4 most basic steps of it, with the last being, in my opinion, action. And, you can't say law of attraction without the action part. And so, that, in my opinion, is why manifestation and the law of attraction gets such a bad rap, because when people explain it, they explain it in a way, all right, well, if I close my eyes and think of 100,000 in sales, it's going to happen. It's going to happen instantly. And that's obviously not how it works. You obviously need a vehicle. So I know I see a whole lot of More Than Money members here. You guys all have this vehicle. Now, if you put massive action into the vehicle, which is your business, and you combine things like Jared said, affirmations, visualization, all of that stuff, when you combine that and never quitting, you are essentially good. You're going to be success. I don't want to guarantee success, but you're guaranteed success as long as you never quit and you combine all of these things. Now, people's issues is that they usually have one without the other. So maybe they'll have, the intensely positive thinking, but they're not taking action on any kind of business. So, like I said, this positive thinking is useless without a vehicle. Now, on another token, people will have that, that business, that vehicle that they're working on, but all they're thinking about is the negative things that's going to happen and how it's destined to fall on their face because everything bad happens to me. And, this is going to fail and this is going to get shut down. And what winds up happening? Everything they thought and said winds up happening. So if you can combine the two of the manifestation, the law of attraction, and the massive action, that is the winning formula.
Yeah. And, it's really simple, right? As we mentioned earlier, not only do celebrities endorse it, but like I said, the normal people who don't know they're using it, well, here's what's happening, right? In life, you get what you dwell on, right? This is a very important concept to understand that whatever it is you dwell on, you will attract. And a lot of people are dwelling on disease, especially now, right? Everyone's dwelling on sickness and disease, which is why people keep getting sick, right? Obviously, there's also a virus spreading, but the more people dwell on it, the more they will attract it in their own lives. So, for guys like us, we simply dwell on getting rich, the way the average person may dwell on something petty or something that's unimportant, we literally just dwell on becoming rich. We spend all of our waking hours either talking about it, working toward it, visualizing it. If we're not thinking about it or talking about it or working toward it, then, it's somewhere in the back of our minds. Like at every moment of the day, I can assure you that, I'm dwelling on becoming wealthy, whether it's spiritually, emotionally, or physically.
Yeah, that's a great, that's exactly it. Every time before I go to sleep and the first thing when I wake up in the morning, I repeat usually like 10 times to myself. I'll say, thank you, God, for my health and my wealth. And, me and Jared I can't even count how many affirmations, but I love that one. I literally just thank God for my health and my wealth. And, Jared, you talked about gratitude, and gratitude is something that so many people literally live their entire lives without showing any type of gratitude for the smallest things. So they think that they don't have anything when in reality they do. And I was reading, we always talk about the science of getting rich, and I'm sure everyone remembers from our last live for those who watched, but, gratitude is an entire chapter in that book. They say that a grateful mind is
harmony.
It's about harmony. It gets closer in touch to the source from where the blessings came from. So when you're thanking God, you're acknowledging the source essentially from where the blessings came from. And, that deep gratitude, I'm not just saying, thank you, God. Thank you, God. We'll talk about meditation and how that's really the best form of praying and gratitude. But yeah, like I said, that line really sticks with me. The grateful mind is closer in touch with the source from which the blessings came.
Yeah. And, obviously we're not looking for this video to take any sort of religion or spiritual turn. But at the end of the day, we do believe in a higher power. And, since we both really started believing in it and looking for ways to get in touch with the higher power, that's when we've seen the miracles happen in our lives, And the honest truth is, think about it like this, right? Let's just say you're a parent, right? Obviously, neither one of us are parents. But if you have, let's just say, 2 children and you buy gifts for both children, right? and one child is super grateful for the gift and the other one is a spoiled brat, who is more likely to get a second gift? Is it the kid that was grateful or the kid that was a spoiled brat? So think about it like that. If you believe in the higher power, right? If you believe that there's something bigger guiding your life, then you have to be grateful. Just thinking logically like that, that the higher power is going to keep giving you gifts, the more grateful you are. And, you know, what I like to tell people is when all else fails, be grateful for the little things, right? Even if you don't have any money yet, you don't have anything to be proud of, then just be grateful that you're able to see. Be grateful that you're able to smell. Be grateful that you're even able to wake up, walk, talk. When's the last time you were really actually thankful for all these little things in your life? You know, if you got in a serious injury, then all of a sudden, all you would want is your health back, right? You always take advantage of it until it's gone. So, you know, my best advice to you is if you have trouble being grateful for things, then just be grateful for the little things because, you know, every day you wake up, you know, that's a win in my book.
Yeah, I love that you said that because I remember when I was probably a sophomore in college, and that was kind of before my thinking like this, but I have such a vivid memory of one time I got super, super, super sick. And I can honestly say it was the most, you know, the only thing that I wanted to do was be healthy. And I had so much gratitude for when I was healthy, when I was sick. And I eventually kind of just realized that's such a horrible way to be grateful for something, only when you don't have it. So, you know, the deepest form of gratitude is knowing that you have something, or maybe even being grateful for something that's bad that happened to you. You know, we said on the last live stream, life happens for you, not to you. You know, if you can find the angle of how this can turn out better, there's usually always the angle. So, you know, if you can keep that mindfulness, I guess you can say, you know, it makes crap situations a lot better.
Yeah. And, you know, honestly, that exact quote, life happens for you, not to you, it's like one of those cliche quotes that really did change my life. I can honestly say that. You know, I took that mentality and ran with it. And when bad things happened, I always thought, you know, what was happening for me? What am I supposed to learn here? What is the lesson? Right? That's the thing. You can't go through life making the same mistake over and over again. You know, you need to learn lessons. You need to look for opportunity. You know, opportunity will knock on your door many times a day, but how many times will you actually notice it and take advantage of it and act on it? You know, those sometimes thoughts that come to you out of nowhere was the thought that you need to follow. You know, that's kind of the way the higher power talks to you, is in your deepest desires. So, you know, you need to think about what it is that you truly want and tap into that. And, you know, the reason why we love e-commerce is because e-commerce allows that, right? You guys watching this need to understand that we don't drop ship because we're passionate about drop shipping. We're not passionate about any of the products we sell, but what we're passionate about is living life on our own terms. And our passion for that is so strong that it fueled us to become successful with drop shipping. And the end result was that we were able to live life on our own terms. Now, you know, we don't need to do anything and we still make money. We don't have to go to a job. We don't have to do anything that we don't want to do ever. And that is what we're passionate about. So you need to ask yourself what it is that truly fuels you and let that be the driving force.
Yeah. And the thing is, like you said, it really comes down to at the first thing you need to do is visualize and see where you want to be in a certain amount of time. You need to have that end goal in mind. Like imagine, you know, driving somewhere, we said it before, with no destination in mind, you're useless. So you need to know exactly where you want to go. And it sounds kind of crazy and it sounds irrational, but when you know where the end result you want to be, the process kind of fills itself in. You're able to recognize, like you said, you're able to recognize opportunities and maybe different ways that can help you reach that end goal when you know the end goal.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the number one thing, is knowing the end goal. You know, Mike mentioned the Drake example, how he used to drive around the nice houses in his area. And honestly, I did too. And, you know, that was back in New York. Obviously, I'm not in New York anymore. But, you know, those houses represented something for me. You know, they represented abundance. They represented the idea of living a better life. So, you know, I honestly did drive around the rich areas near my house every single day. And honestly, you know, if you have some really wealthy areas near you, I encourage you to do the same, because, you know, that stuff really will help you manifest, you know, a better life in the long run. I really do promise.
And I mean, Jared, how long have you been doing that?
I did that for like 2 years.
So you've been doing that for 2 years. Jared's been driving around looking at huge houses in his neighborhood. Yep. Now, what do you know? You know, like I said, we're not just talking about this. as everyone knows, now we're in Las Vegas in our own huge house that people drive around and look at and like and comment on. So, that's just one small example that, this isn't just hypothetical things that we're talking about. I actually, another funny story, we're talking about, I guess it's a good segue into visualization. And, we'll talk about how to visualize, I guess, and the best way to do it. But, about, I would say 10 months ago, I wrote a $5,000 check to myself, and I had it. And I literally used to look at it, and I still have it in my room. I brought it here from home just because it means so much to me. It was a $5,000 check. That very next month was one of my most profitable months, and I made $7,000. So it wasn't exactly $5,000, but literally it wound up being more. And it was, I swear, it was within 30 days of the timeline that I set. But that just goes to show that, I set a goal 4 or 5 months in advance, and what do you know, it wound up actually happening.
Yeah, and it's amazing because I have so many stories along those lines. I'll give you guys one, like little one for me, was when I was doing low ticket AliExpress. The reason why I said yo is because the name of the company was Yoga Days. It's spelled YOGADAYZE. The Instagram's still up, but the website does not exist anymore. I sold it for like $1,000. But long story short, when I was doing that, right, AliExpress dropshipping, I was visualizing $100 days, right? And sure enough, within due time, I started hitting $100 days. But then what happened was I started closing my eyes every night before bed and visualizing $1,000 days. And what ended up happening was a light bulb flickered in my head, my partner's heads, and we just realized that low ticket wasn't making sense anymore. And I started doing high ticket. And next thing you know, very quickly, within doing high ticket, I started doing $1,000 days. So the point of the story is that the law of attraction and visualization works. It just doesn't always work how you think it will, right? Because think about it. I was visualizing $1,000 days on Shopify, right? But it was for a different business. And something happened that made me give up on that business. And then I started a new one. And the $1,000 days started coming very quickly. And now they're $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 days. But the point is, it all started with visualizing $1,000 days. And even though it didn't come in the way I thought it would, it still came. And if I didn't have the right mindset, I probably would have quit after the first business, right? But since I had the right mindset, since I was using the power of visualization, next thing you know, the $1,000 days came. It was just a completely different business.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a real story that's crazy because I lived pretty much through all these stories, so, at least for the last 6-7 years. And when I saw that Jared was literally talking about this, and then I was watching it happen with my own eyes, that the things that he was talking and thinking about actually came to fruition. That's really what opened up my eyes. And I was like, okay, wait, this is no joke. So then I saw him. Then I do some Google searches, and like I said, I see the most successful people in every industry applying exactly what he's talking about. I was like, all right, this is no joke. And I remember something that you told me, when we first learned about this subject, was every item started off as a thought.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm sure you can kind of explain this better.
Yeah. Everything. I mean, guys, think about it. Like everything you see started with a thought, right? As a human being, for us to make something, we have to think it first. It's physically impossible for anything else to be correct, right? So the universe is the same way, right? Everything on earth was thought by something. It's a thought universe. And what you need to understand is that your thoughts are made out of the exact same matter as everything else, right? As crazy as it sounds, your thoughts are made out of the exact same substance that has created everything else on the planet. So what does that mean? Is that in a weird way, your thoughts are as real as everything else in life. And the moment you understand that, you start thinking on a completely different level. You start thinking in terms of creation. If my thoughts are real, then I'm going to try to create as many possible things as I can with my thoughts. And then you start with your thoughts, which leads to your hands, which leads to it actually becoming manifested. And yeah, I mean, that's how it works. Everything you can think of started with a thought. Just look around your house. Look around the city that you live in. Everything. Just think about it for a second, that everything had to be thought by one human being.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure maybe we're beating a dead horse, but it's very clear that this stuff works. And let's pivot a little bit into the best place to visualize, obviously, as we know, which is while meditating. So, I guess at its simplest form, Jared, in your words, what is meditation?
I would say meditation can be summed up in a lot of ways, right? In a lot of ways, you can say meditation is anything that allows you to just live in the moment, to be still, right? So in ways you can call riding a bike meditation, you can call doing jujitsu meditation. And these are honestly forms of meditation for us. But the way of meditation that Mike is really talking about is when you actually just sit alone with your thoughts. And honestly, in a lot of ways, don't even think at all. Just become still, become one with the universe. So what we like to do is, we like to just, sit or lay down, in private and do breathing techniques. Specifically, the guy we mention all the time, his name is Wim Hof. Look him up on YouTube. Just type in Wim Hof breathing technique. Amazing. And honestly, when we do that, we like to take time to just visualize what it is we want with our lives, and I preach this to everyone that I know that, I want to be successful, to really spend time visualizing and thinking about what you want, and then spending time working toward it as well.
Yeah. And so again, guys, his name is Wim Hof, Wimhof. And just to kind of give you a quick summary of what he does is he pretty much believes that your mind can conquer pretty much everything. So this guy has, climbed Mount Everest in his underwear. He's injected himself and other people who have used his same breathing techniques with diseases, and they've literally overcome them by using this deep breathing. That's essentially what it is. So, meditation at the form that we do it is it's deep breathing. And essentially what you almost get like an oxygen high in a way where, you keep on breathing so heavily that you get yourself filled with oxygen. And, obviously a lot of times when you hear about meditation, it's to let go of worries and stress. And that is an awesome form. And that's another way that I use it is, when you can get into that stillness, that space where, you're doing these heavy breathing and you're forgetting about everything else in the world, like nothing else, all the problems that you have, it does not matter in that moment. All right. So when you're not thinking about anything and you're still, you can appreciate just the stillness. And, obviously we can talk a little bit now about how that stillness is proven to be the best place to release your desires per se, or is the best time to communicate with God, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, you got to think about it like this, like in a way, going deeper in is the same thing as going deeper out. Right. So, I believe that life is a combination of internal and external forces. I believe that we have the power internally to create our own external existence, right? So with Wim Hof breathing techniques and meditation, what you're doing is you're going deeper within, which again will eventually lead to a deeper without. Life starts on the inside, right? Unsuccessful people in life let the outside world dictate their inside feeling, right? Successful people let their inside feeling create their outside existence. Mike and I were calling ourselves rich long before we were rich. I remember one time, a friend made an argument or made a comment to me about like him having more money than me, which obviously you should never, ever argue with people about who has more money. Like that should never be like anything, but it was like an immature comment. And at the time he did have a lot more money than me. But I remember Mike turned to me and he was like, that guy's talking to the wrong guy right now. Because it was only a matter of time before, the inevitable happened. Because me and Mike, we went to college together and we both started taking these beliefs and we were dead broke at the time. But we truly believed in everything we were doing. And it was crazy because we started a business and it failed. We started another business and it failed. And it was like, it got to the point where we had every reason to quit. Our parents were begging us to stop. It was like, no one wanted us to continue, but we both believed in it to a level where there was no stopping us. Like I said, I told my mom, I would rather die than work a 9 to 5. And yes, that's drastic. Yes, that's crazy. But, that leads to a point of this video, right? Is in order to be successful in life, a lot of times you have to burn the bridge. My dad, he actually made a joke recently about back before I was successful. He would always say the same comment, just have a plan B, have a plan B. And he was telling someone the story and they were like, oh, so what did Jared say to that? And he would always say, screw a plan B. He was like, Jared would always just say, no plan B, only plan A. And that honestly is how I was. And I know that's how Mike was as well. And that's why we're in the position we're in today.
Because I think the issue with a plan B, and then there's nothing wrong with having a safety net. We tell a lot of people, if you don't have money, like get a job and then start a business. Like that's how you have to do it. But the issue for a lot of people is that they'll start the business and their plan B is so sound and so comfortable that they are so willing to just give up on the plan A when they have such a comfortable plan B. And it makes sense. Honestly, it makes a lot of sense. I don't like question why it is that they fall to the plan B. But, you know, I think our point is, you know, be mindful about that. You know, be mindful of, I guess, you know, this comes back to the end result. You know, I talked to you before about how important it is to have an end result in mind, because, you know, when it comes to, you know, we're talking about like quitting now. When you have that end result, quitting isn't an option. But when you don't have the end result and you have that really comfortable plan B, you're like, all right, you know, I tried this out for a month, like maybe it's not for me. And you wind up quitting, and you wind up, you know, just not getting to where you want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, the plan B truly does distract from the plan A. 1, 2, it's going to be really hard, right? So if you have that plan B still in your head, I promise you that higher power that we were talking about earlier in this video is going to give you every single reason to turn back to that plan B. And it won't be until you finally cut the ties, until you finally burn the bridges. You know, the old saying, if you want to take the island, burn the boats. It won't be until you finally do that you will actually be successful. And, you know, I have so many stories I can talk about, whether myself or clients or friends, of people that literally just a simple mindset shift created crazy results in their business. And there's no way to explain that other than, you know, the higher power that is working with us, as long as we tap into that, you know. And like I said, we believe it. If you don't want to believe it, it's perfectly fine. You know, that's not a problem. But from what I've seen is, you know, everyone that meditates and does the law of attraction and doesn't quit becomes successful.
Yeah, you know, we're talking about this plan B. It's actually a funny stories, because this is something that I've recognized, and I've recognized for a while. I remember I just graduated college. My parents were like, just get a job. Like you can start the business and have a job. Like you'll be good. And, you know, I had two thoughts to that. One, I didn't want to I didn't want to take time for my business and put it to a job. And another big reason that I told my parents was I didn't want to get comfortable. You know, I was actually afraid right out of college of getting a job, you know, getting a job in Manhattan, going out with friends, going to happy hour after work, and getting into just getting into a cycle that I just didn't want to get in, because I knew where my attention and focus needed to be. And, you know, that's one example. You know, my parents went to being super supportive and pretty much let me not work for like 5 or 6 months, where eventually I was able to, you know, turn a profit on the business.
Yeah. And luckily, you know, I had a very similar story. But luckily for me, I was actually profitable by my junior year of college. And, you know, I'll tell you guys honestly, I was making over $100,000 a year drop shipping, not doing anything else, just 100% drop shipping my junior year of college, which this was back in 2018. And the craziest thing is that I still finished college. I still went to school my senior year. But this is another example of how the manifestation process works too, was that I was literally I didn't even care about college at all at that point. You know, I went there my senior year, honestly, just to party. I went to a fun school. I was in a frat with this guy. So it was like, all right, senior year, I'll figure it out. But the funny part was that I actually ended up having the best grades I had all 4 years of college my senior year, when I literally didn't give a crap about school anymore. And why is it funny? Because I was honestly just using the law of attraction. You know, I was just visualizing myself graduating and getting it through it, but I wasn't actually studying. I wasn't really doing anything else, but I just knew I'd find a way, whether it was cheating, studying. I just figured it out and got through college my senior year while being a full-time dropshipper. It was funny because I was just telling people, like, you know, people were asking if I was a student, and I was saying it was like a part-time thing, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, it also helps that we were communications majors, so you can only imagine how much free time that we had in our hands.
Well, ironically, we both failed business classes. That's the ironic part. And it was like, I don't know if I was in the same position, I'm sure you were. It was like, I can either retake the business class and work my butt off to try to get a business degree, or I could just take communications and actually focus on business. And, you know, we both decided the same thing, do communications so we can focus on online business. And that was the best choice. I promise you, the two of us know 10 times more than all of our friends that we went to school with that only took business classes.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's something that, you know, we talk about, and a lot of entrepreneurs talk about how, you know, Gary Vee's always saying, if you know and you have your heart set 1,000% that you want to be an entrepreneur, why even go to college? Because, you know, I was having a conversation with someone just the other day, and they were like, did you learn anything in college that helped your business? And I can honestly say I didn't learn anything in college, let alone enough to help my business. I paid for the experiences. Obviously, that's how we met. But, at the end of the day, there's really no way to learn about business better than getting your hands dirty and just doing it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, if you're watching this and you're just about to graduate high school, my honest advice would be not to go to college as well. If you know you want to be an entrepreneur, then you should graduate high school and get a job. It won't be that hard to get to save money and get a job and start an online business. Like what we teach only requires really, $2 to $3 grand maximum. Like, if you have $2 to $3 grand saved up, then that's more than enough. So it's like you can literally graduate high school and become a pizza delivery boy, a waiter, a retail rep, a free anything. Any low level job will make you enough money. If you work 8 hours a day, which I would say do that. Get a low level job, work at that 8 hours a day to save as much as possible, and start building your business in the meantime. And when you graduate high school, you're 18. By the time you're 20 to 21, you would be 100% financially free and probably very wealthy. So, like I said, if you're watching this, I know most people watching this aren't in high school. No high schoolers really have the mindset that we're talking about. I know I didn't, honestly. It wasn't until freshman year of college that, I really started adapting it. I know for you, I believe it was sophomore year. But yeah, if you're a high schooler and you're watching this, that's my best advice.
Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. These are all things that, people, when we first learned and we would speak about this in college, people thought we were insane. And yeah, I mean, I guess I don't completely blame them. And I'm sure, listen, some people watching might think we're crazy, but I hope now at this point, the results prove that what we're talking about isn't nonsense. And so let's change a little bit and let's talk about, we spoke about manifesting success. Let's talk about money. All right. Because I think a lot of times people's issue is that they have a bad relationship with money.
Yeah.
If you want to kind of talk about that.
So, money is misconstrued all the time, right? Money is the same thing as, grass, trees, right? Money is made out of trees, right? So money is the same thing. So you can't say money is evil because that's just a very ignorant thing to say. The truth is that lack of money causes people to do evil things. That's the reality. Money is absolutely necessary for there to be order in our society. Before money, people used to carry around sheeps. Honestly, people would literally trade sheeps, trade and barter. You don't want to live like that. You don't want to live a barbaric lifestyle. Money is a great thing for our society. I promise you that. Like if the value of the dollar went to zero and money had no value, it would ruin everything, right? I think everyone that's watching this should learn to come to love money. That's the first thing. The second thing is understanding how to attract money, right? So again, money is made out of the same molecules as something simple like rocks, trees, grass, etc. So you can't say money's evil. But what you can say is that the more energy you put into money, the more money you will get. That's how the universe works. The universe is just energy. So the more energy you put into something, the more you get.
Yeah, and people's issues is, when I say mental relationship with money is a lot of people think that, there's a limited supply. They think all the richest people hoard the money and that, the rich people here have all the money and there's not enough over here. And at the end of the day, that really comes down to one word, and it's probably our favorite word, and that's abundance. We genuinely think that there is enough money for everybody. So when you think in this limited supply of penny pinching, and it's like, oh, I really, really need this dollar. I really need this dollar. This dollar is of short supply. Money will stop coming to you when you carry that kind of mentality. Now, I'm not saying be stupid with your money. Being frugal is smart, but don't hold that mental attachment where you think, like I said, there's a limited supply. When you think of abundance and you think that there's literally enough to go around, your viewpoints on money and success change drastically. It's a mindset shift. And when you can start, there's a song that me and Jared found on Spotify. It's absolutely insane. We'll have to find the video, but it's literally a song. It's like an affirmation song. It's like, I love money. Money comes to me. I attract it. It's an awesome song.
And it's called Magnet to Money. It's like, I am a magnet to money. And that's funny. I like that you mentioned that because hoarding money does not allow you to have money. Money needs to flow in your life like blood. It circulates, right? That leads me to a great point. Mike and I invested 20 grand in the last 2 days into our personal brands. And I invested 5K into flipping one of my properties that I own. So, what does that tell you guys? is that we're investing large amounts of money to make large amounts of money. You need to let your money fly and return to you in multiples, right? And I guess that segues me into a very important point for anyone considering joining our program, is that within the next week, we will actually be changing all the prices around. So right now, you can get access to our course and mentorship for us for $97 a month. Next week, that most likely will not be the case. So if you want to get mentored for us at the premium price, $97 a month. Unfortunately, we have way too many students now. It's become way too hectic for us. And we want to make sure that our current students succeed. We want to give the people that have joined us, people that have been with us from the beginning, the best chance to succeed possibly. So, moving forward next week, our cheapest plan is going to be $997, and it's not even going to come with mentorship. It's only going to be a course. So, we're really becoming serious about who we want to mentor, who we want to coach. So again, if you're thinking about working with us, getting mentored for us from the cheap price, you only have one more week, because we really, the people in this chat, the people that are part of our program right now, we want to give them everything we can.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So we know, I'm sure a lot of people in the video are already members. So you guys are getting taken care of. Nothing will change in your plans. We can appreciate people who've been with us since the beginning, because we're all really going to just grow together. And yeah, I don't know if there was anything else, Jared, that you wanted to add.
Yeah, no, let me see if there was any other topics that we had to discuss for this video. But if not, one thing I did want to discuss was, tools to use for the law of attraction. So one thing obviously we mentioned was the Wim Hof breathing. Another thing we absolutely love is miracle tones, guys. I could not recommend this anymore. Just go on YouTube, type in 528HZ, or just type in miracle tones and just listen to those when you're working, listen to those when you're meditating. I promise you, those tones really do help you create miracles. Mike and I are huge on them. Other successful students of ours use them. Use the miracle tones, meditate to them, sometimes even sleep to them.
Yeah. Wim Hof, the miracle tones, like I said, we pretty much just play those throughout the house all day. Guided meditations are great for people first starting off. Even if you guys don't believe us on our results with this kind of stuff, look up Conor McGregor manifestation. Look up those kind of videos. Drake, I'm sure you'll be able to find videos of them talking about, I know Conor McGregor especially, in his documentary, he talks about how he literally visualized himself in the UFC with, being a double champion. These are things that he saw years when he was piss broke. So, don't take our word for it. Take the most successful people's word for it, and then go and apply it. Like I said, especially to the members of the community that are watching, take all of our high ticket e-com resources, take full action, and now take these resources that we spoke about in this video and combine them. All right, combine them. It'll not only help, eventually with your success, but like I said, it'll help relieve stress. Anytime you're in a place with either stress or your mind is fogged, it's an acquired skill. It's not like something that you're gonna be able to do one time and be an expert at it. Be consistent with it. Like everything, be consistent with your meditation, be consistent with your business, and you'll reap the results eventually.
And honestly, Mike just mentioned the names he mentioned because those are our idols. But your idol, whoever it is that your idol is, has used the law of attraction. And whether they talked about it or not, which they probably have, so go ahead and YouTube it. But whether they have or not, just understand they had to have used it to get to where they are. Because think about what the law of attraction is. It's just simply that whatever it is you dwell on and work toward every day, you will attract. So for those people, whether they endorse it or not, for them to have achieved that great thing that you admire them for achieving, they had to have dwelled on it. They had to have worked toward it. They had to have visualized it. They had to have thought it, right? Think about it. Again, back to the beginning of the video. Everything starts with a thought. So they had to have thought about seeing themselves in that position they're in today. So again, like I said, you can go ahead and look up whoever it is that's your idol. I'm sure they have videos talking about how they visualize getting to where they are today. But whether they do or they don't, I guarantee you they use the law of attraction, because it's physically impossible for them to have achieved great things. You don't just stub your toe and become successful, right? It doesn't happen. You have to work toward it for months and years.
Yeah, it's well said. We start looking at some questions. I know Drake said, "The power of the mind is not a joke." I said that I would do it, and I did. All right. I see a bunch of MTM members. Sports Mafia. Jim Carrey used to sit on top of the Hollywood Hills when he was broke and convince himself he was the greatest actor in the world until he actually was. Yes, Jim Carrey is a huge law of attraction advocate. I believe he also used to carry around a check. He has a story on YouTube. I'm sure you can find it. He would carry around a check for, I forgot the amount, literally look at it every single day, look at this check. And he said one day he got an offer for that exact amount. Insane.
Yeah. And honestly, guys, don't be afraid to create a vision wall for yourselves. Maybe just print out pictures of things you want, or just write what you want on a note and post it on the wall. You know?
Vision boards are huge. Build assets as Miracle Tone Militia. Yup. Happy, healthy, wealthy, and wise. Thank you, Julian. Vic said that's facts. Coming from an athlete, it's easy to take health for granted. Yeah. Absolutely. That's so many people's issue is that they don't know how good they have it. And when it's gone, then where's that gratitude? Yep. Julian says, can I live with you guys? Maybe someday, Julian. Elaine, I love that high ticket items make us see bigger numbers and think bigger. Yeah. So true, Elaine. It's when you have a sale that comes in that's, someone just spent $3,000 on your store, it's abundance. It's really, it's abundance.
It's amazing. I mean, sometimes you got to ask yourself, why would anyone spend thousands of dollars on my store? And then they do. So
Brad York, brainwash yourself. I love it, Brad. Brainwash yourself into this type of thinking. You'll thank yourself later. Michael P. Manifestation is so huge. For the past 4 years, I've told my mom that I'm going to be rich one day. And it's gotten to the point where I say it, she now believes it because I say it so confidently. Michael, that's an awesome story. I think my mom might actually be watching. So if you are, Mom, I used to do the same thing. When I was broke in college, I vividly remember she drove me. I went to get a haircut once, and I told her, I was like, Mom, I'm going to be rich someday. And she, I think she brushed it off. She was like, I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. And now she believes me. She believes me.
And honestly, one day it won't even be about belief. You'll just show her, and that's the best.
When it comes to fruition, it almost proves a point to yourself.
Eating those fruit, but I'll be honest, you'll miss those days that you were working. You'll miss those days when you had nothing, in a weird way, in a very weird way. But nothing sweeter than success.
Denise, mindset is definitely very important. When you have doubts, fears, just hit the delete button on those thoughts and turn your fear into focus. F plan B, plan A all the way. Denise, I think you got some Tony Robbins in you. I love it. It's honestly so true because a lot of times, when you have these thoughts and worries, we always say happiness is a state of mind. We are happy people, but we're not happy 100% of the time. So, when you find yourself having those unfortunate thoughts, negative thoughts find their way into your head, and you're not crazy for thinking negative thoughts. Every single person does. Meditation is honestly saved us both. Saved us sounds exaggerated, but that's when we use meditation. When everything else seems like it's crumbling, you find that place and you're just mindful. And when you're grateful, I mean, we already talked about.
I love that you mentioned happiness because guys, understand this with happiness is the same thing as hunger, right? No matter how happy you are, time will pass and that happiness will, it will be the same thing. It'll wear off. So, the way to do it is to be mindful of your thoughts, as Mike mentioned, because, you're not going to be happy 100% of the time, but the goal is to be happy most of the time, 80, 90% of the time. That little 10%, it's okay. Everyone has their moments and that's fine. But if you find that you're not happy more than 50% of the time, that's a huge problem. If you're unhappy for majority of your life, then that is a problem. That comes from within. That means that there's something in your life that you need to be doing and you're not doing it. So, think about it. This is where the meditation comes in, right? Because the meditation reveals these things to yourself. That's why we do it, is because, meditation is where we actually think about what makes us happy and we find out. We think about what's wrong with our lives and we find out, there's a whole religion of people, the Jewish religion, where they don't work one day a week purposely so they can work harder the other 6 days of the week. And that, obviously there's the stereotype that Jews have money. And honestly, that's probably a good reason why, is because, they literally take time out of their week to reflect every single week. And then they work harder the other 5 days.
He's just saying that to gas himself. He's a rich Jew, so he fits the stereotype. Where were we? Alex says, money is a resource. Use it right, and you'll be a lot better off than most. Waste it, and you'll have a much harder time getting by. Yeah, and that's kind of why, I touched upon it before, is you have to find the line. You have to find the line of abundance. Like, all right, I can, not being frugal or too penny pinching with your mind, but also being smart with your money. Like we always say it's not how much money you make, it's how much you keep. So, it's cool to make $100,000, but if you're blowing 80,000 of that, you're not rich. So, find the line. Mike P, if you guys haven't already, I highly suggest watching the episode of the Impulsive podcast with Charlie Rocket. He believes all of his success has come from manifestation. So we're usually watching Impulsive around the house. I've never seen that.
I've never seen that episode. We'll definitely throw it on later. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, thank you. We'll definitely check it out. Joe Rogan is always having people on his podcast and talking about this stuff because, it's legit.
And hopefully one day, guys, this podcast will get big enough where we'll have cool guests on all the time. So
yeah. And you guys, listen, we'll remember that we're 17 of you still here with us. We'll remember. Maybe
you'll get to come watch in person when that's allowed again.
Yeah.
When the virus, we'll have a little studio seating, everything.
Elaine says abundance mindset, not scarcity mindset. Yeah, scarcity. That's a great word. Like I said, I talked about it. Scarcity mindset. There's not enough, limited supply. Forget those thoughts. Leave them at home. Put them down the disposal.
There's enough building material for every human being in the world to have a mansion. I think there's actually a fact that we can fit all of America's population and live well just in Texas. If that's not abundance right there, think about it. The entire population can just live in Texas and we can be fine. Meanwhile, there's a whole country. So, there's more than enough space. Sometimes going into the country land is great for the abundance because then you see the abundance of land. The city life, it does make you feel a little scarce because you're stuck in an apartment. People are squished, but life is not scarce. Life is abundant. And if you're a city type of person, I advise you to take some time and spend it in nature. We're the type of people that love hiking. We love doing things that make us feel closer to nature.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I talked before about how a grateful mind brings you closer in touch with the blessings, with the source of the blessings. A lot of people always ask, how can I get closer to God? One, showing gratitude, and two, like Jared just said, getting out in nature. When I see an open ocean, I not only think abundance, but I'm almost just able to thank God, that He created this. These palm trees standing behind us, just seeing that and recognizing the source from where it came from, it brings you, like I said, just closer in touch. Genevieve said, just joined your program. So excited for the mentorship. Genevieve, we are excited to have you. Let's get that chat started and let's get that.
Check your email. I'll send you an email by the end of the night, letting you know what we need from you. And then, we'll get you in the mentorship chats. So start with the mindset course, though. For anyone that just joined, always start with the mindset course.
Yep. Mindset is the foundation. Brad York, awesome to know that, guys. Vic, I thought I was the only one who does that. LOL. Do you guys listen to 432 music as well? Yep, Vic, don't worry. You're not alone. That's the whole point of the More Than Money community is that you're not alone. They're different type of miracle tones, like different frequencies. But 432, I don't know if that's a sleeping one or what. But
we use 432. You probably don't even know, but I throw that one on all the time.
All right, Alex Seeley, got a dip early meeting to work on the site, but another successful video. Keep it up, nutcases. We appreciate you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
Sports Mafia, one of my favorite Drake lines. I thought it and I achieved it.
Great line.
Yep. Sports Mafia also says the Jim Carrey check was for $10 million.
Yep.
Thank you for the fact check. Vic, Striking Thoughts by Bruce Lee is a good book I would recommend. He was actually a pretty interesting philosophical mind, and he has a section on money in there.
That definitely sounds like a great book. I definitely would be interested in that.
Like I said, I'm always interested in people who did things the greatest. So like I said, the greatest in every field, profession, sport, I'm always naturally just kind of attracted to how they got there. Vic also says, the Almanac of, I'm going to butcher it, Almanac of Naval something is really good. He talks about creating wealth and happiness.
We have it written, and I'm sure we'll write it down.
Yeah, no, exactly. And Pete says a strong mind can beat anything.
and Pete's saying that, and that's coming from one of our success students, guys. And the reason why Pete was able to be successful just like we were is because he really understood, the power of the mind and read The Science Getting Rich many, many times. So, take after Pete, take after us. And guys, you'll find the results in yourself. So again, before we wrap up this video, we did want to say the special announcement is that we will be raising the prices probably as soon as next week, if not the week after, 100%. So if you want to work one-on-one with us for the premium price of $97 a month, do not hesitate. I promise you do not want to miss out. Yeah.
I mean, I hope you guys don't think we're actually insane now. You know, we're speaking about things that a lot of people don't understand. But that's kind of probably the reason that there's not a lot of successful people out there, because, you know, everyone does things and they have a certain kind of thinking. You know, this type of thinking that we spoke about throughout this video, these are techniques and methods, like I said, that the most successful people have used. So
honestly, if you buy a course from someone who isn't preaching this stuff, then just return it, get your money back, because that guy isn't actually successful.
Yeah. So, you know, thank you. We appreciate every single one of you guys for, as usual, hanging with us. The questions in the live, we always appreciate. Like, comment, and we will be back. We're going to try to start doing twice a week. If you guys want to see us talk about anything business, doesn't have to be drop shipping, doesn't have to be law of attraction, but it can be. Drop a comment below, and I swear we'll get to it.
Yep.
So let us know what you want us to talk about, so we can.
We usually get 0 comments, so if we get 1 or 2, we're going to get to it.
Yeah. All right, so we'll see you guys in the next live.
Yeah, that was fire.